The fatal shooting of Renee Nicole Good by an Immigration and Customs Enforcement (ICE) agent in Minneapolis has sparked national outrage, renewed debates about federal law enforcement accountability, and deep grief within the LGBTQ+ and local communities. The incident, which occurred during an ICE operation in early January 2026, has become one of the most controversial uses of force by a federal agent in recent years, particularly because of the conflicting accounts surrounding what actually happened in the moments before Good was killed. Renee Nicole Good was a 37-year-old U.S. citizen, a mother of 3, a poet, and an openly lesbian woman who had recently relocated to Minneapolis. Friends and family describe her as gentle, creative, and deeply devoted to her children and partner. She was not a suspect in any immigration-related crime, nor was she the target of the ICE operation unfolding in her neighborhood on the day she died. Her killing has therefore raised troubling questions about how federal enforcement actions are conducted and who ultimately bears the consequences when they go wrong. According to federal authorities, the ICE agent involved fired his weapon after Good allegedly attempted to use her vehicle as a weapon, claiming the action was taken in self-defense. Officials from the Department of Homeland Security initially stated that the agent believed his life and the lives of others were in imminent danger. This narrative was quickly challenged by eyewitnesses, community members, and video footage that circulated widely online within hours of the shooting. The videos appear to show Good's vehicle moving away rather than toward officers when shots were fired into the driver's side window. Moments later, the SUV rolled forward and crashed, leaving Good fatally wounded. Witnesses at the scene described chaos and shock, with one woman screaming in anguish that her wife had just been killed. These accounts sharply contradict the official federal explanation and have fueled public anger, particularly in Minneapolis, a city still grappling with the legacy of police violence following the 2020 killing of George Floyd. For many residents, Good's death felt like a painful reminder that excessive use of force is not limited to local police departments but extends to federal agencies operating with limited local oversight. The reaction from city and state leaders was swift. Minneapolis officials publicly disputed ICE's version of events and called for full transparency, while Minnesota's governor and attorney general demanded an independent investigation. Community protests erupted near the site of the shooting, with demonstrators holding candles, flowers, and signs calling for ICE to leave Minnesota altogether. LGBTQ+ advocacy groups also condemned the killing, emphasizing the disproportionate risks faced by queer people, especially queer women, during law enforcement encounters. Beyond the immediate outrage, the case has intensified a broader national conversation about the scope of ICE's authority and the lack of accountability mechanisms when federal agents use deadly force. Unlike local police, ICE agents are not subject to civilian review boards, and disciplinary processes often occur behind closed doors. Civil rights organizations argue that this lack of transparency erodes public trust and makes justice harder to achieve for victims' families. For Good's family, the political debate offers little comfort. She leaves behind children who must now grow up without their mother and a partner who witnessed her final moments. Loved ones remember her not as a headline or a symbol, but as a vibrant person who loved writing, cared deeply for others, and was trying to build a stable life for her family. Vigils held in her memory have focused on honoring her life rather than the circumstances of her death, though many attendees say the two cannot be separated. As investigations continue at both the federal and state levels, the killing of Renee Nicole Good remains unresolved in the eyes of the public. Whether criminal charges will be filed and whether meaningful reforms will follow is still uncertain. What is clear is that her death has become a defining moment in the ongoing struggle over law enforcement power, civil rights, and the value placed on human life. For many, it is not just a tragic incident, but a warning of what can happen when armed authority operates without sufficient restraint or accountability.